Go ahead.
The servants, Victoire and Angelique, as he wrote to his mother, were convinced that he had a little friend who would soon console him for her absence. And the servants were right. During this September, he was interested in a pretty Viennese girl whom he had met at the Perrin dancing school in the Rue de la Victoire, not far from Condorcet. The cynicism with which he wrote of her to Robert Dreyfus was no doubt assumed, but it does not suggest any profound feeling or enjoyment. I've had an extremely uncomplicated affair which ended very boringly in the inevitable way, and has given birth to an absorbing liaison that threatens to last at least a year, to the greater profit of cafe concerts and places of that kind to which one takes that kind of person. Perhaps the platonic passion for a celebrated cocotte, which he mentions in the same letter, struck a little deeper. Her name was Léonie Close-Mesnil, and he watched her every afternoon driving along the Avenue des Acacias in the Bois, and alighting to walk in the Tir aux Pigeons, with her characteristic lingering step and long skirts sweeping the gravel. He tried to analyze her fascination, in which one may recognize the Freudian identification of the courtesan with the mother, in purely aesthetic terms. The rounded lines of her neck and shoulders were those of an Etruscan vase. The corner of her mouth was that of a Luini or a Botticelli Virgin. The pink of her dress was more exquisite than the September sky above the Bois at 6 in the evening, and the blue of her hatband reminded him of deep, still water. He wrote to her to inform her of his admiration, and she wrote back. Then he sent a photograph, and she gave him several of herself, which he kept till the end of his life, in his album crammed with the images of women and men he had loved or liked, of picnics and house parties, the records of his wasted time. For one moment of his novel she became Odette, whom Swann, too, was to compare to a Botticelli. Proust revealed to a friend that in the book, when Odette walks by the Tir aux Pigeons, letting the long train of her mauve skirt trail behind her, and the onlooking gentleman says to his friend, "I was in bed with her on the day McMahon resigned," she is Léonie Close-Mesnil. He was already trying, tied to the cord which led so deeply and painfully to the bottom of his heart, that it would always pull him back to escape from the family. Perhaps he would never have wished or dared to devote his September to the pretty girl and the beautiful cocotte if his mother had been at home. But she had left him for a holiday with his young brother, for whom she was trying to find a writing companion. Perhaps young Eiffel, his father built the tower, you know, would do. So Marcel good-humoredly sent on His Majesty's new hunting horn, which seemed much too big, more like a trumpet to be blown on Judgment Day. "It looks very funny, and I can't think what it's for," said Victoire. Perhaps it was in this month that he ventured still further into the forbidden country of normal love, and retreated still more disenchanted. A schoolfellow persuaded him to visit a brothel, an incident which he recalls in his novel when Bloch informs the narrator to his amazement that women never ask for anything better than to make love, and by taking him to a house of ill fame, performs a service which bears the same useful relation to love as that of handbooks on medieval towns to travel. But the experience was horrible. The proprietress had the face of a murderess, and when he left, he afterwards told his comrades, who thought the remark exquisitely absurd, "I felt as if I had left part of my moral being behind me." Want me to continue?
Go ahead.
In October 1888, he began his year of philosophie under Marie Alphonse Darlou, the
Okay.
great
Okay,
philosopher.
that's it. That's it.
Okay.
Thank you.